The quantum resonance chamber hummed quietly in the underground laboratory, its soft blue glow reflecting off Dr. Sarah Chen's tired eyes. 300 meters of alpine rock shielded her team's work from the world above, but more importantly, it shielded their experiments from detection. Outside, a bitter Swiss winter raged across the mountaintops. Down here, Sarah's world consisted of quantum probability curves and endless cups of coffee. She checked the chamber's readings for the 1,000th time that week. The quantum particles were behaving oddly again, showing correlation patterns that defied conventional physics. Her colleagues had suggested equipment malfunction, but Sarah knew better. She triple-checked every component herself. Dr. Chen, her assistant Thomas, appeared at her elbow with yet another coffee. It's almost midnight. The rest of the team left hours ago. Sarah accepted the cup without looking away from her display. Just one more test sequence. There's something here, Thomas. Look at these patterns. The holographic display showed a complex dance of quantum interactions, beautiful in its complexity. To most observers, it would appear chaotic, but Sarah saw the underlying structure. The particles weren't just entangling. They were creating stable patterns across space itself. Running final sequence, she announced to the empty lab, her voice echoing off steel walls. The quantum chamber's hum deepened as power flowed through its superconducting coils. The first sign that something was different came from the gravitational sensors. They registered a slight distortion, barely above background noise. Then the quantum activity spiked, and Sarah's coffee cup slipped from suddenly numb fingers. It shattered on the floor, spreading a dark stain across the pristine laboratory tiles, but she barely noticed. The numbers on her display couldn't be right. The energy readings suggested that the quantum particles weren't just entangling, they were folding space itself, creating microscopic tunnels through the fabric of reality. Thomas, she whispered, are you seeing this? Her assistant stared at the readings, his face pale in the blue glow. That's impossible. The energy requirements for spatial manipulation on this scale should be astronomical. Should be, Sarah agreed, her hands flying across the control panel. But we're doing it with the power output of a small fusion reactor. The quantum resonance is amplifying the effect exponentially. 17 kilometers above the laboratory, on a cloaked observation platform in low Earth orbit, xenoanthropologist first-class Venerx noted another routine day in human development. Their sensors detected an unusual quantum fluctuation from the European region, but classified it as a cosmic ray interaction after standard analysis protocols. Venerx added it to their daily report with a notation, continuing evidence of primitive particle physics experimentation. Estimate 126 standard cycles before humanity achieves basic quantum manipulation capabilities. Back in the laboratory, Sarah's mind raced with implications. This wasn't just a new energy source or a quirk of quantum mechanics. This was a key to the stars themselves. Her hands trembled as she began composing a message to the UN Security Council. The world would need to know, but carefully, quietly. Humanity's first steps into a larger universe would have to be taken in secret. She typed 5 words that would change human history. Atlas has wings. Confirm receipt. Thomas watched the message encrypt and vanish into a secure quantum channel. They won't believe it without proof. Sarah smiled, watching the stable spatial fold shimmer in her quantum chamber. They will. Because tomorrow we're going to send a probe through that fold. 1 centimeter of spatial displacement today. By next month. Could be a light year. In orbit, Venerx powered down their daily observation equipment, adding a final note. Species shows no signs of imminent breakthrough. Recommend continuing standard observation protocols. The xenoanthropologist never noticed the subtle changes in Earth's quantum background radiation, never recognized that humanity had just cracked a code that most civilizations took millennia to decipher. As far as the galaxy knew, Earth remained a primitive world of limited potential. That was exactly how humanity wanted it. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood in the cockpit of humanity's first quantum ship, her heart pounding against her ribs. The QSS Prometheus hung in the shadowed crater of a forgotten lunar mare, hidden from prying eyes above. Through the crystalline viewport, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the star-speckled void. Pre-flight checks complete, Captain, her navigation officer reported. Quantum core is stable at 20% capacity. Maya nodded, running her fingers along the neural interface controls. 6 months of training had prepared her for this moment. The first attempted quantum jump. The ship's systems merged with her consciousness through the interface, feeding sensor data directly into her mind. Mission control. This is Prometheus. We are go for quantum transition test 1. Admiral Helena Martinez's voice crackled through the comm. Confirmed, Prometheus. You have authorization to proceed. Good hunting, Maya. Deep beneath the lunar surface, in the carved-out chambers of Base Alpha, Martinez watched multiple holographic displays tracking the Prometheus. Beside her, Dr. Sarah Chen monitored the quantum signatures. The scientist had aged years in the months since her discovery, working relentlessly to transform theoretical physics into practical engineering. Remember, Sarah's voice was tense. The quantum fold will feel like falling through your own shadow. Trust your instincts. The math says human consciousness can navigate quantum space naturally. Maya took a deep breath, feeling the ship's systems pulse around her. Initiating quantum drive in 3, 2, 1. The universe twisted. Reality folded like origami in Maya's mind as the Prometheus slipped sideways through space. Colors that had no names flooded her consciousness. She felt her crews panic, their neural interfaces broadcasting their fear into the ship's shared consciousness. Stay focused, she commanded, forcing her own terror down. Look for the shadow, like in the simulations. Through the quantum chaos, Maya sensed something familiar. A dark thread in the fabric of space-time. She reached for it with her mind, and the Prometheus responded. The ship's quantum drive sang as they rode the spatial fold. In Base Alpha, alarms screamed. We've lost position lock. Someone shouted. Quantum signature is destabilizing. Sarah Chen leaned forward, her hands white-knuckled on the console. She has to find her way back on her own. The math says it's possible. The Prometheus materialized 50,000 kilometers from its starting point, systems screaming warnings as Maya fought to stabilize their return to normal space. The quantum drive sparked and died, leaving them tumbling through the void. Prometheus, report. Martinez's voice cut through the chaos. Maya laughed, the sound edged with hysteria and triumph. Mission control. Quantum transition successful. We did it. Emergency thrusters operational, but main drive is fried. Requesting pickup. In lunar orbit, a Galactic Council observation drone recorded a brief energy spike, categorizing it as a malfunction in primitive human fusion experiments. Its operators never realized they had just witnessed humanity's first successful faster-than-light jump. Hours later, Maya stood in Martinez's office, still shaking from the quantum transit. It wasn't like the simulations, Admiral. It was alive. The quantum space responded to thought, to intuition. Maybe that's why the aliens never discovered this approach. They relied too much on pure mathematics. Martinez nodded, studying the flight data. Dr. Chen's theory was right. Human consciousness can navigate quantum space instinctively. That gives us an advantage. She looked up at Maya. How soon can you train other pilots? Give me 3 months. I'll have a whole squadron ready. Maya paused. But we'll need more ships. Already in progress. Martinez activated a secure hologram, showing vast underground chambers across Earth. Abandoned mines and submarine pens now housed secret shipyards. In the Australian outback, beneath the Atacama Desert, deep under the Siberian permafrost, humanity prepared in silence. The galaxy thinks we're decades away from reaching the stars, Martinez said quietly. Let them keep thinking that. By the time they realize their mistake, We'll be ready." Maya touched the neural interface at her neck, remembering the feeling of quantum space flowing through her mind. "They won't know what hit them." "No," Martins agreed. "They won't." "Dismissed, Captain. Get some rest. Tomorrow, we make history again." Lieutenant James Wong sat in the cramped control room of QSS Artemis, disguised as a weather monitoring satellite. His quantum communication array silently intercepted and decoded alien transmissions, while the ship maintained its lazy orbit around Earth. 6 months of listening to galactic chatter had taught him to distinguish routine traffic from actual threats. This was different. "Control, we have multiple quantum signatures entering the system," he reported, his fingers dancing across holographic displays. "Configuration matches harvester patterns from the stolen Council databases." Deep in Lunar Base Alpha, Admiral Martinez's command center erupted into action. "How many ships, Lieutenant?" 7 capital ships, ma'am. Standard harvester invasion fleet." James paused, decoding more transmissions. They're discussing harvest protocols. "They think we're defenseless." Martinez's lips curved into a thin smile. "Maintain passive observation. Let's see how close they want to get." The harvester fleet emerged from quantum space near Saturn, their massive hulls reflecting the distant sun. Each ship stretched nearly 3 kilometers long, bristling with weapon systems designed to subdue primitive civilizations. Their command channels buzzed with confidence. James listened to their chatter, his expression growing darker. "They're talking about processing camps. Admiral, population control measures, standard procedure for them." "Not today," Martins replied. "Captain Rodriguez, is your squadron in position?" Maya's voice came through, steady and cold. "Quantum squadron ready, Admiral." 6 ships, waiting in the shadow of the Kuiper Belt. The harvesters moved methodically through the solar system, their sensors scanning each planet. They ignored the seemingly primitive satellites, never realizing that each one contained quantum sensors tracking their every move. James watched his displays as the alien fleet approached Mars. "They're launching scout ships. Standard pattern. They'll do a close sweep of Earth before the main fleet moves in." "Perfect." Martinez opened a channel to Maya's squadron. "Execute Operation Ghostlight. Make it clean." In the quantum realm, Maya led her squadron through the folds of spacetime. The human ships slipped between dimensions, emerging precisely where the math predicted, directly behind the harvester fleet. "Remember your training," Maya transmitted to her pilots. "They can't track quantum jumps like ours. Hit hard, hit fast, and jump again before their sensors can lock." The first harvester capital ship erupted in silence, its quantum core overloaded by precisely targeted human weapons. The aliens had no time to react before the second ship split apart, its hull breached in 17 places simultaneously. "What's happening?" James translated the panicked harvester communications. They're trying to figure out how they're being attacked. Their sensors can't track our ships through the quantum jumps." The third and fourth harvester ships attempted to raise defensive screens, but Maya's squadron had already calculated their next strikes. The human ships phased through normal space like avenging ghosts, their quantum weapons bypassing alien defenses completely. "Harvester Command is ordering a retreat," James reported, his voice tight with controlled excitement. "They're trying to power up their quantum drives, but they're too slow." "No survivors," Martinez ordered. "We can't let them report what happened here." Maya acknowledged grimly. Her squadron executed their final attack run, their ships dancing through quantum space with terrible grace. The remaining harvester vessels never had a chance to escape. Their quantum cores imploded one by one, leaving nothing but rapidly dispersing debris clouds. In the aftermath, James intercepted the last, desperate transmission from the harvester command ship. He translated it with grim satisfaction. "Unknown hostile force, impossible technology. Earth is not what we thought." The message never reached its destination. Martinez stood in her command center, surveying the tactical displays. Damage report. No casualties. Admiral, Maya reported. Minor power fluctuations in two ships' quantum cores, but nothing serious. The harvesters never landed a single hit. Good. Martinez turned to her communication officer. Transmit to all commands. Operation Ghostlight successful. Earth's defense remains intact. Our existence as a primitive civilization continues to be our greatest deception. James listened to the suddenly quiet quantum channels, thinking about the alien ships that had come expecting easy prey. They never saw us coming, did they? No, Martinez agreed, studying the debris field that was once a harvester fleet. And neither will anyone else. Back to your posts, everyone. The galaxy still thinks Earth is a backwater world, and that's exactly how we want it. For now, Dr. Yuki Tanaka's underground facility in Tokyo hummed with quantum processors. Holographic displays filled the air with cascading alien text, each stream representing a different encrypted channel of galactic communication. Her team of quantum hackers worked in silence, their neural interfaces gleaming as they sifted through the data flood. They're starting to notice the harvester fleet's disappearance, Yuki announced, her fingers dancing through the holographic interface. Multiple species are asking questions. The council is calling an emergency session. Her second-in-command, Raj Patel, looked up from his own data stream. Should we interfere with their communications? No need. Yuki smiled, watching the panic spread through the quantum networks. Let them talk. Every transmission gives us more insight into their encryption protocols. The quantum entanglement tap they placed in the alien networks was Yuki's masterpiece. Unlike conventional hacking, which left traces in computer logs, quantum entanglement allowed them to simply listen to the echoes of information flowing through spacetime itself. The aliens hadn't even conceived that such infiltration was possible. A priority alert flashed across her display. The Proxima Centauri monitoring station is requesting permission to investigate the solar system, she read. They detected some unusual quantum fluctuations during the battle. Standard procedure would be to deny them access, Raj suggested. Maintain the illusion of a primitive world. Yuki shook her head, an idea forming. No, let's give them permission. But first, her hands blurred across the controls, injecting subtle modifications into the quantum data stream. We'll make sure they see exactly what we want them to see. In the Galactic Council's emergency chamber, ancient species argued about the fate of the Harvester fleet. Their quantum communication systems broadcasted the debate across thousands of light years, never suspecting that every word was being analyzed by human AI systems. The quantum emanations from Sol suggest primitive fusion experiments, one council member insisted. Nothing more. An entire harvester fleet doesn't simply vanish, another countered. We must investigate. Yuki's team watched the debate through their quantum taps, recording every nuance of alien politics and technology. Earth's first diplomatic vessel was already en route to the council, carrying Ambassador Hassan and a carefully prepared demonstration of human capabilities. But the real power lay here, in this underground room in Tokyo, where humanity's quantum hackers peeled back the layers of galactic society. New data incoming, Raj announced. The Proxima monitoring station just completed their scan of our system. They're uploading their findings to the council network. Yuki pulled up the scan results, admiring her team's handiwork. The quantum data manipulations were perfect. Where the battle had taken place, the alien sensors detected only normal background radiation. The debris from the harvester ships appeared to be natural asteroid fragments. Even the quantum wake signatures from human ships had been masked to look like solar fluctuations. They're buying it, she said, reading the monitoring station's report. They're attributing everything to natural phenomena. The Council's xenoscientists are already developing theories about unusual solar activity in our system. Director Tanaka, a young analyst, called out, I'm seeing increased encryption activity in the Council's military channels. They're scared. Good. Yuki stood, stretching after hours of neural interface work. Fear makes them sloppy. Every new encryption protocol they develop gives us more insight into their quantum technology. On her main display, the council debate continued. Species that had existed for millions of years argued about the mystery of the missing harvester fleet, never suspecting that their every word was being monitored by the very primitives they dismissed. Ambassador Hassan's ship will reach the council in 6 hours, Raj noted. Should we warn them about the military chatter we're detecting? No need. Yuki's smile held a predator's edge. The ambassador already knows everything we've learned. When she walks into that council chamber, she'll know more about their political alliances and secret fears than they do themselves. She turned to her team, pride evident in her voice. This is how humanity wins. Not with quantum weapons or faster ships, but with information. While they watch our skies for threats, we're already inside their most secure networks, learning their weaknesses, understanding their minds. And they still think we're primitive fusion-age savages, Raj said with a quiet laugh. That's the beauty of it, Yuki agreed. The greatest hack isn't breaking into their systems. It's making them believe we never could in the first place. Ambassador Sarah Hassan stood at the viewport of the QSF Magellan, watching the crystalline spires of the council headquarters glitter against the backdrop of twin purple suns. Her simple charcoal business suit felt oddly appropriate among the ship's quantum tech interior. After all, humanity's strength had always been in making the extraordinary seem mundane. 5 minutes to arrival point, Ambassador, Captain Chen reported. Dr. Tanaka's team confirms the council is in full session. Sarah nodded, adjusting her neural interface. The quantum link to Earth hummed at the edge of her consciousness, feeding her real-time intelligence from Yuki's hackers. Any changes to the security protocols? None they're aware of. Chen's smile held a hint of predatory satisfaction. They're still debating whether to send a third survey team to Earth. The Magellan's quantum drive thrummed softly as they approached the council station. Inside Sarah's briefcase, carefully shielded containers held her diplomatic gifts, quantum-linked samples of human innovation. Each one had been chosen to send a very specific message. Beginning final approach, Chen announced. Quantum cloak disengaging in 3, 2, 1. The Magellan materialized directly above the council station's main docking ring. Proximity alarms screamed across the alien facility as their sensors suddenly registered a ship that hadn't been there a microsecond before. Sarah felt the station's defensive systems activating, then stuttering in confusion as they failed to classify the Magellan's quantum signature. They're hailing us, the communications officer reported, amusement clear in her voice. In 17 different languages, none of them English. Respond in Galactic Standard, Sarah instructed. Inform them that Earth's first diplomatic mission requests immediate audience with the full council. The resulting chaos was visible even from their position above the station. Ships scattered in panic. Defensive platforms swiveled uselessly, and emergency signals flashed across the station's crystalline surface. Through her neural link, Sarah could hear the explosion of frightened communications racing across quantum channels. Docking protocol initiated, Chen reported. They're not quite sure whether to treat us as a threat or an impossibility. The difference is largely semantic, Sarah replied, checking her appearance one final time. Is everything prepared in the council chamber? Chen nodded. Dr. Tanaka's team confirmed successful quantum entanglement of all the prepared locations. You'll have total control of the demonstration through your neural interface. The Magellan docked with precise efficiency, its quantum-engineered hull making contact with alien metals in perfect silence. Sarah stood before the airlock, briefcase in hand, projecting an image of calm confidence that belied the historic magnitude of the moment. Try not to start a war, Ambassador, Chen said with a wry smile. On the contrary, Captain, I'm here to prevent one. The council chamber was a vast amphitheater of crystalline terraces, each hosting representatives of different galactic species. Sarah walked to the central podium alone, her footsteps echoing in the stunned silence. Above her, Hundreds of alien faces stared down in various expressions of shock, fear, and outrage. "Honored members of the council," she began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "I bring greetings from Earth. We apologize for our unannounced arrival, but we felt it was time to correct certain misconceptions about our world." A counselor from an ancient silicon-based species rose, their crystalline form vibrating with anger. "This is unprecedented. Your species is pre-emergence. You cannot possibly." Sarah smiled, activated her neural interface, and triggered the first quantum link. With a soft pop of displaced air, a steaming cup of coffee appeared on every council member's podium. The chamber erupted in pandemonium. "As I was saying," she continued calmly, while security forces rushed in all directions, "we have much to discuss. For instance, you might be interested in learning what really happened to that harvester fleet. Or perhaps you'd like to know how long we've been monitoring your quantum networks." She took a sip from her own coffee cup, savoring the moment. "But first, I suggest you try the coffee. It's Colombian. We find it helps facilitate difficult conversations." The message was clear. They could have sent anything through those quantum links. The coffee was merely courtesy. The real demonstration was the fact that humanity had mastered technology that the Council's oldest races considered theoretical. "Now then," Sarah said to the suddenly attentive audience, "shall we begin the real diplomatic discussions?" The first global innovation exchange sprawled across the terraformed surface of Mars, its quantum glass domes gleaming under the red sky. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the central lecture hall's podium, facing an audience that included species from across the galaxy. Her neural interface projected her presentation into the quantum space shared by all attendees, allowing each species to perceive the information in their native sensory format. "The problem with traditional quantum mechanics," she explained, manipulating the holographic display with practiced ease, "is that everyone assumed consciousness was an observer of quantum effects rather than a participant." In the audience, a collective murmur arose from the assembled scientists. Some had traveled thousands of light years to attend this lecture series, drawn by rumors of humanity's unprecedented breakthroughs. "Your species spent millennia trying to remove consciousness from the equation," Sarah continued, bringing up a complex mathematical model. "We embraced it instead. Watch." She closed her eyes, interfacing directly with the quantum demonstration system. Above the audience, space itself seemed to ripple and fold. A small quantum singularity formed, danced through a series of impossible geometries, then collapsed back into nothing. "That's impossible," declared a silicon-based scientist from the Rigel system. "The energy requirements alone are negligible when consciousness guides the quantum flow." Sarah interrupted. "Your ships brute force their way through space-time. Ours dance with it." In the observation deck above the lecture hall, Ambassador Hassan watched the proceedings with Dr. Yuki Tanaka. The quantum hackers team had vetted every attendee, ensuring no hidden military observers had slipped through. "They're starting to understand the implications," Yuki noted, monitoring the quantum channels. "The Arcturus delegation just requested an emergency consultation with their science council." Sarah pulled up another display, showing the schematics for humanity's quantum navigation system. "We're releasing this design into the public domain," she announced, along with complete documentation for neural interface technology, quantum entanglement communication, and consciousness-guided spatial manipulation. The audience erupted in shocked discussion. A free exchange of such advanced technology was unprecedented in galactic society. "Of course," Sarah added with a slight smile, "these are just the basic principles. Our latest innovations are somewhat more sophisticated." In a secure chamber beneath the facility, Dr. James Wong monitored the quantum AI systems that represented humanity's true technological edge. The artificial consciousness matrices were already learning from the alien scientists' reactions, evolving new theoretical approaches. "Second quarter results are ready," his assistant reported. Humanity's technical exchange program has boosted galactic scientific progress by an estimated 300 years. James nodded, watching the data flow. And how many of them have figured out what we're really doing? None, sir. They're too excited about the technology we're sharing to question why we're sharing it. The truth was elegant in its simplicity. Every piece of technology humanity released spawned new research directions in alien laboratories. Their quantum monitoring systems caught every discovery, every innovation, every breakthrough. The galaxy's finest minds were inadvertently working for Earth, their collective genius filtered through human quantum AI systems and rebuilt into something new. Back in the lecture hall, Sarah fielded questions from the audience. A crystalline being from the Vega system raised an appendage. But how did humans achieve this level of quantum manipulation so quickly? Our records show your species barely understood atomic theory a century ago. Sarah's answer was carefully prepared. Necessity breeds innovation. When you're a young species surrounded by ancient civilizations, you learn to think differently, to see possibilities others might miss. She didn't mention the quantum AI systems processing the audience's brain patterns, learning how different species approached problems. Didn't reveal that every question asked helped humanity understand alien psychology better. In the observation deck, Hassan watched the alien scientists furiously taking notes. They still don't understand, do they? No, Yuki agreed. They think we're being generous, sharing technology out of some noble principle. And the truth. The truth is that knowledge flows both ways. Every technology we share teaches us how they think, how they solve problems, how they innovate. We're not just teaching them. We're learning how every species in the galaxy approaches science itself. Hassan smiled. The best way to understand your neighbors is to let them think they're understanding you. Yuki finished. By the time they realize what we've done, we'll have reshaped galactic science in humanity's image. Admiral Helena Martinez stood in the Quantum Command Center beneath Olympus Mons, watching the hostile fleet approach through a three-dimensional tactical display. The Conservative Council species had assembled the largest armada seen in a millennium, over 300 capital ships advancing in perfect formation toward Sol. They're not even trying to hide their approach, Lieutenant James Wong noted from his communication station. Their quantum channels are broadcasting in the clear. Of course they are. Martine smiled grimly. They want us to know they're coming. Classic intimidation tactics. The quantum defense grid hummed around them, its crystalline nodes spreading throughout the solar system like a spider's web. Dr. Chen's latest innovation didn't just monitor space. It actively shaped it, turning the very fabric of reality into humanity's shield. Multiple quantum signatures entering the Kuiper Belt. Maya Rodriguez reported from her captain's chair aboard the QSS Prometheus. They're moving slower than expected. Looks like they're having trouble navigating our quantum wake patterns. Good, Martins replied. Begin Phase 1. In the Tokyo Quantum Center, Yuki Tanaka's fingers danced across her neural interface, initiating quantum space distortion. Their nav systems are about to have a very bad day. The first sign that something was wrong came when the alien fleet's perfect formation began to waver. Ships that had been flying in precise patterns suddenly found themselves hundreds of kilometers from their planned positions. What's happening? The alien admiral's translated communications echoed through the command center. Our quantum sensors are showing impossible readings. James suppressed a laugh. They're trying to recalibrate their navigation systems. Should I let them? No need to be cruel, Martine said. Let them think they've fixed the problem. Maya, are you in position? Quantum squadron ready. Admiral. Though I don't think we'll need to fire a shot today. The alien fleet pressed forward, now moving with excessive caution. Their sensors probed ahead, looking for traditional defenses, weapon platforms, minefields, or energy barriers. They found nothing. They're entering the main grid zone, Yuki reported. Quantum web is fully charged. Martinez nodded. Execute Phase 2. Across the solar system, thousands of quantum nodes activated simultaneously. Space itself began to fold and ripple in complex patterns, creating a maze of spatial distortions that followed no logic the alien ships could understand. By all the stars, the alien admiral's voice held a note of fear now. The humans have weaponized space-time itself. Ships that tried to advance found themselves emerging from quantum space at random coordinates. Vessels attempting to retreat encountered spatial loops that brought them right back to their starting points. The mighty armada was trapped in a quantum web that defied their understanding of physics. Their weapons are powering up, James reported. Let them try, Martine said softly. The alien fleet opened fire with enough energy to shatter a planet. Their weapons passed harmlessly through the quantum-warped space, the energy dispersing into carefully crafted spatial folds. Should we demonstrate our own weapons, Admiral? Maya asked, her quantum squadron hovering just out of phase with normal spacetime. No need. Martines watched the alien fleet's increasing desperation with something close to pity. They're doing exactly what we expected, assuming that superior firepower would win the day. They never considered that we might simply change the rules of space itself. In the quantum maze, the alien ships began to break formation. Some tried to force their way through, their engines straining against the spatial distortions. Others attempted to plot escape vectors, only to find their quantum drives couldn't establish stable coordinates. Admiral, James called out, they're sending a retreat signal. The alien commander is requesting terms of withdrawal. Martinez considered the tactical display, where one of the galaxy's most powerful fleets now drifted helplessly in humanity's quantum web. Release them, but make sure they understand the terms. This was a demonstration, not a battle. Next time, we won't be so gentle. The quantum grid powered down gradually, allowing the alien ships to regain their bearings. As they fled in disarray, their quantum communications buzzed with fearful discussions about the implications of what they'd witnessed. They came expecting to find weapons they could counter, Yuki observed through the quantum link. Instead, we showed them that humanity's real strength isn't in our ships or our guns. No, Martinez agreed, watching the last alien vessels vanish into quantum space. Our strength is in changing the game entirely. They tried to fight a war. We just rewrote the laws of physics. The new quantum innovation network stretched across the galaxy like a nervous system of light and knowledge. In the central hub station orbiting Earth, Ambassador Sarah Hassan prepared to address representatives from over 1,000 worlds. The quantum link chamber hummed with energy as consciousness streams from countless species merged into a shared space of understanding. A year ago, she began, her words translating instantly across all known languages and sensory patterns. Many of you thought Earth was a primitive world barely worth monitoring. Today, we gather to reshape the future of galactic civilization itself. Through her neural interface, Sarah could sense the mixture of excitement and apprehension rippling through the quantum network. Dr. Chen's latest breakthrough had made this possible. Direct consciousness sharing across light years without delay or distortion. The quantum commons isn't just a network, she continued, gesturing to the crystalline structures that powered the system. It's a new way of thinking about cooperation and progress. In her laboratory beneath Olympus Mons, Dr. Chen monitored the quantum flows with satisfaction. Every connection, every shared thought, generated new patterns that the AI systems could analyze and enhance. The network wasn't just transmitting information, it was evolving. Humanity's greatest strength, Sarah explained to her vast audience, was never our technology. It was our ability to see old problems from new angles, to question assumptions, to imagine possibilities that others had dismissed as impossible. She brought up a display showing the hundreds of breakthrough technologies developed through the network in just the past month. Species that had been locked in millennia-old technological stagnation were suddenly advancing in quantum leaps. We didn't achieve faster than light travel by following established theories, she noted. We did it by asking why consciousness itself couldn't guide our path through quantum space. We didn't build better computers, We asked why artificial intelligence couldn't merge with quantum mechanics itself. In the Tokyo Quantum Center, Yuki Tanaka watched the proceedings with pride. Her team's quantum security protocols ensured that the network remained a tool for progress rather than warfare. The same technology that had once let them spy on alien communications now protected the free flow of ideas across the galaxy. The old council believed in hoarding knowledge, Sarah continued, in maintaining the status quo. They forgot that true power comes not from what you keep, but from what you share and help grow. Admiral Martinez, watching from Lunar Base Alpha, allowed herself a small smile. The quantum defense grid that had once trapped an alien fleet now served as the backbone of the galaxy's most sophisticated communication system. Weapons turned to tools, just as humanity had always done. Today, Sarah announced, we're opening the next phase of the Commons. Every species connected to the network will have access to our latest quantum consciousness technology. Yes, the same technology that lets us navigate quantum space through thought alone. The same principles that power our quantum AIs. A wave of astonishment rippled through the quantum link. This level of technology sharing was unprecedented in galactic history. But remember, she cautioned, these tools are only as powerful as the imagination behind them. We offer not just technology, but a new way of thinking. A reminder that the universe has more possibilities than any one species can imagine alone. In the quantum space, consciousness streams began to merge and flow in new patterns. Ideas sparked between species that had never been able to communicate properly before. Problems that had stumped ancient civilizations found solutions through the combined creativity of 1,000 worlds. They finally understand, Dr. Chen whispered, watching the quantum flows grow and evolve. This was never about Earth dominating the galaxy. It was about teaching them to see beyond their own limitations. The galaxy once watched Earth, waiting for us to reach the stars, Sarah concluded. They never considered that we might simply take a different path up. Now we all walk that path together, not as separate species, but as fellow explorers in the quantum dawn of a new age. The quantum network pulsed with shared purpose and possibility. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy, they had transformed it, turning ancient rivals into partners in progress. The species that had once dismissed Earth as primitive now stood ready to help forge a future that none of them could have imagined alone. In her quantum-linked chamber, Sarah smiled at the streams of consciousness flowing around her. The galaxy never saw us coming, she murmured.